Já começou, meu pai amado. Uai, tá sem áudio essa bagaça?
To systems, a
Foi
bunch of
mal,
new
guys. Let's
encounters,
go,
and
bora.
lots of other content.
Novas
We're
classes,
going to finish up today with a
tendência...
live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile
Não,
2's game
Ziggy D não,
directors,
por
myself
favor.
and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat.
Indie Game
Now, we have a
Improvements,
lot to
Character
cover today,
System
so let's get started with a
Improvements. Cadê
trailer
o som?
for
Foi
Path of
mal,
Exile
guys.
2,
Já voltou o
Dawn of the
som.
Hunt.
My bad, my bad.
We as Mary are guided by the spirit. It provides prey, shelter, even
Bora.
love.
Bora. Bora. Bora, Larissa.
But for me, one day, all that were changed.
Depende, você vai me ajudar nos MF do
It showed me
Standard.
something forbidden.
Que é
And to
tudo.
defend all I loved, I used it. I lost.
É de São Paulo? Ih, tá do lado, pô. Um pulo. Nós se torna de São Paulo.
But fate weren't finished with me
Tá
yet.
aqui do ladinho.
I'll right the wrongs I've
Qualidade
done.
gráfica tá boa, hein?
I'll do what I must. No matter the cost.
Eita.
I will hear the spirit once more.
Eita! Ah, mano, eu tenho medo dessas gameplay assim bonita, véi. Eu tenho medo. Você é de que cidade de São Paulo, Larissa? É da capital? É de onde? Eu tenho medo dessas gameplay assim, véi. Eu tenho medo dos baits da GGG, tá ligado? Parece muito forte, mano. Eu sou de Minas, interior de Minas, Piracicaba. Piracicaba, eu acho que é uma cidadezinha maneira. Se for onde eu tô pensando, não é muito grande, né? É grande, mas não é muito grande. Se bem que eu sou do interior, pra mim tudo é grande, né? 100 novos itens únicos. 100 novos itens únicos. Novo endgame mecânica. Interessante. Novos vocês viram que veio ali? Veio aquela mecânica que todo mundo odiou. A GGG colocou a mecânica que ninguém gostou, mano. Mas vai que deram rework, né? Calandra, essa mesmo. Todo mundo odiou. Eles falaram assim, bora botar, já que todo mundo não gostou. Mas vai que deu rework.
In Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the first new class since early access to PoE 2.
Deixa eu botar a legenda.
Ih,
não tem
the
legenda não.
Huntress is a spear-wielding Asmeri warrior. Born into a
Caralho,
society with
dá pra
strict
soltar um
traditions.
skin em cima
She
do
was exiled
calango?
from her
Dá.
homeland after using the power of a
Calandra é
skill gem to
boa, dá
defend
pra
her
pegar nível...
village.
Tem esse
As a
fato.
dexterous spear user, she specializes in both melee and ranged combat, dashing into and out of battle. Spears have extended range and a short dash, but unlike other melee weapons, you can also throw them.
É, ele tá falando da skill do bonequinho, guys. Falando que ele é melee.
The first skill you will get as a huntress is Whirling Slash.
Primeira skill que você vai pegar é essa skill aí, ó.
This skill creates a whirlwind that blinds your enemies.
Sem liga nova no PoE 2, só ascendência e coisa besta. Calma, Robertão, calma. Ciclone de lança. É um ciclone de lança, mas você nem consegue correr com ele. É meio... Curti muito não. Tipo, você não consegue correr com ciclone, é uma Blade Vortex que fica no lugar. Basicamente. Isso é muito ruim pra matar, na minha opinião.
Your character will counterattack any incoming attack from monsters near you, stunning them. In addition, the monsters will take extra attack damage from your follow-up strike. Some specific skills are designed to be used after a parry and have extra effects. Disengage is a skill that does a quick jump back. damaging enemies in front of you,
Tu
and
vai
can be used
ver,
to interrupt other actions,
cara,
like
a
dodge roll.
GGG faz
If you
a
use it
gente
against
de
a parried enemy,
palhaço.
though, it causes an explosion and gives you a frenzy charge.
Mas eu imaginaria que não ia vir muita coisa. Vamos ver até o final, vamos ver o que
Just
que
be
vai
careful.
rolar.
If you parry too much, you're going to get stunned and possibly killed.
Ah,
You can combine this combo with whirling slash. Slash, parry, disengage, and you'll get an explosion from the
fizeram
disengage
essa
and the
classe aí
whirling
na
slash.
base de Aquiles.
The Huntress
Pô,
also has a
realmente,
variety of elemental spear throw attacks.
realmente. Agora que você
You
falou,
could use lightning spear to bounce lightning between your
literalmente, né?
foes. Or you
Literalmente
could
o
throw
mesmo
explosive
estilo.
spears into the ground. These spears take a while to detonate, but when they do, they'll
Literalmente.
incinerate anyone caught in the
Ah,
blast.
aqueles fêmea.
All spear throws on the Huntress can also be
Eu tava
empowered by
com o
frenzy
intuito
charges.
dela
For
mandar
example,
dois personagens
explosive spears will
se
do an
lascam
even larger
resto.
explosion and leave fire on the ground. And these empowered
Ah,
versions can
mano.
activate even more combos. Using whirling slash over ground fire will
Faltou
suck it
o
into the
Heitor
whirlwind,
ali.
adding fire to the explosion. Using twisters inside a fire whirlwind will shoot out fire tornadoes as well. And you can do similar combos with ice and lightning too. Now, a key aspect of hunting is exhausting your foes by causing blood loss. This skill is Rake, which dashes towards your target and unleashes a deadly slash, opening up wounds on your enemies. Follow up with Disengage and watch them bleed out as they run towards you. On the health bar of monsters, you can see how
Ah,
much
não
blood loss the
sei,
enemy has
véi.
experienced, and the Huntress has skills to take advantage of this. For example, using Blood Hunt will
Eu
thrust
tenho
forward
medo,
and cause
velho.
a
A
bloody
GGG é meio
explosion.
bait,
The more
velho.
blood loss, the
A
bigger the
GGG é meio
explosion.
bait.
If
Na
you want
minha
to cause bigger
opinião.
bleeds,
No 2,
try
pelo
out Rapid
menos.
Assault. The final hit of this multi-hit combo will stick a spear into your
Esperava
enemy
mais.
for a big bleed. Now, explosive
É a
spear and
impressão que eu
rapid
tô
assault
tendo.
both result in leaving spears behind,
Eu
either
também
in the ground or
esperava
in
mais.
enemies.
Não só do
But there are
personagem,
other
mas de
skills that
tudo.
leave spears around too,
Vamos ver
like
até o
Storm
final, ver o
Blades.
que vai
These are
rolar,
ritual
mas...
spear that arcs towards enemies. But what can you do with all these spears? Detonate them, of course. Thunderous Leap will allow you to jump onto and explode any spears either in the ground or in your enemies. Now, as well as hunting animals, the Huntress also has the ability to work with them.
Só mais um boneco
For
elemental
fighting any
skill que vai
beast, you have
castar
the ability to tame
eternamente.
it and use it as a companion. You can only have
Vamos
one
ver, guys,
companion
vamos
at a
ver.
time, but it will keep the mods that were on it. Try to find a rare beast with good mods to take full advantage of your ability to tame them.
Isso é interessante, hein? Mas mesmo assim, não sei como é que
Now, this
ficaria.
is just the beginning of the Huntress. We've
Tô achando
really
que vou
tried
ficar
to
mais
make the
15
hybrid
dias na
ranged and melee
Frécia.
gameplay work for this class by having a huge amount of
Você tem
synergy
bom
between ranged
argumento.
and melee options. There are 22 new skills available for the
Você
Huntress.
tem bom
By
argumento.
endgame, you'll be slaying
Eu vou
hundreds of
pensar ainda até o
insanely
final
powerful
se eu vou
spears,
jogar ou não.
sending forth spirit animals and summoning the might of Solaris from the sky. But we still haven't talked about ascendancy classes yet. What can the Huntress ascend into? Well, the first ascension class you could choose is the Ritualist. The Ritualist has embraced the darker side of his merry traditions by harnessing the power of animal
As animação
sacrifice
tá
and
bonita.
plague.
Ah, o Pai 2 é muito bonito, né, velho?
The Corrupted Life Force skill causes all enemies around you to grow volatile blood boils on their skin. When those enemies are slain, the boils will burst, spreading corrupted blood to all enemies around them. The Ritualist also excels in taking advantage of magical trinkets.
Ring slot.
The
Caralho, você
unfurled
tem um
finger
slot
skill
a
allows
mais.
you to equip
Isso
an
é
additional
roubado, hein,
ring on a
velho?
finger around your neck.
3 ring?
Taking Mystic Attunement increases the bonuses of all the rings and
Não,
amulets you have
isso é,
equipped.
isso é roubado, hein,
Now,
velho?
this is one of my favorites.
Isso é roubado,
As the
hein?
Whisper's Ask grants you a new skill, Ritual Sacrifice.
Isso é roubado, hein,
Use the
velho?
skill on the corpses of slain rare monsters to absorb the power in their blood, to give you one of their modifiers for a short time. Specialize further into Ritualistic Sacrifice with As the Whispers Demand, which allows you to perform that skill on yourself instead of a corpse. Cut your own hand, sacrificing some
Vou
of your
ficar
own blood
jogando
to
DayZ
empower
com
yourself.
minhas amigas. É melhor.
The
Nada
Amazon Ascension is
interessante
for
no
those
POI
looking
1.
to hunt more than
Nossa, eu
just
tentei
beasts.
jogar DayZ, eu achei tão
Trained as an elite
difícil,
guard
velho.
to the most important as Merry
Eu
Elders,
pedi
the
reembolso do
Amazon will
DayZ,
use
eu não
more
consegui
traditional
jogar não,
fighting
achei
techniques
muito
mastered to
difícil.
perfection.
É, você vê que eu tava jogando
The
sozinho,
Predatory
né?
Instinct skill will cause you to reveal
Eu achei
weaknesses in the
muito
defenses of
complicado,
rare and
velho.
unique enemies,
POI 2 é
causing
um
you to deal
jogo
more
muito
damage.
bom, mas
You can
infelizmente
see
não é
those
o
weak
POI
spots
1.
represented on their life bars. While using Elemental Infusion, any
Destaque
charges
de
you consume will
atributos.
infuse your weapon with elemental power, causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact. The Critical Strike skill is as simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as Critical Strike
Solo é
chance.
difícil. É porque eu não tinha
Additionally,
ninguém,
you
né,
have
pra
skills
jogar.
like Mystic Harvest, which allows your elemental damage to leech
Meus
life.
amigos, Tipo assim, o pessoal que joga alguma coisa comigo geralmente não joga jogos muito assim, não.
So those are the two new ascendancies for the Huntress. But those are not the only ascendancies in Dawn of the Hunt. We've added a new ascension class for 3 of the other existing classes too. First up for our warriors
Não
out
quis
there,
me
we have
chamar
the
da
Smith of
nisso.
Kitava.
Te conheço tem pouco tempo, velho.
Warrior is a blacksmith in
Bora
Oregon,
jogar
taught
então
by his
Daisy.
father, Renly. With this ascension, you can take your smithing skills
Você vai,
to new
de repente, você vai
heights
ter
by
paciência
embracing
pra
power
ensinar alguém
from the
ruim a
sensational
jogar
one
Daisy?
himself, Kitava. Smiths of Kitava are master blacksmiths and
Garante
have the
que tem
ability to
PU,
forge
yep.
their weapon, quite literally. Using the Against the Anvil notable skill, you can enhance your weapon with fiery destruction before any battle.
Ensino? Então bora.
After doing so, your attacks
Bora.
will release explosions on hit for maximum devastation. You can also use the power of Kitava to summon an animated copy of your weapon to fight alongside you.
Pô,
A great
interessante.
blacksmith can do more than just forging their weapon, though.
É, o
Their
Red, ele
armor can
pega
be
os
enhanced
modificadores, né? 3 rings
Now, you
com
might
um
think this
total de
ascendancy class
atributos
tree
com
looks a
armadura
little
de stack.
abnormal, and you're
E
right.
detalhe, com
There's a lot
25%
of
de
notable skills all
bônus.
disconnected
Muito
at the bottom
forte.
By taking this point here, which is free to assign, your character is unable to equip
Como que
body
são
armors
esses
with
drops
mods
aí?
at
Eu
any
acho que é
time.
2 horas que você
So
assistir,
your
você
body
pega.
armor must be normal. Sounds like a
Cacete.
downside, right? Except now in true blacksmith fashion,
Você já
you
tem
get
meu
to craft
disco
your
lá?
own body armor by taking those disconnected notables with
Bora
your
ficar no
points.
evento kalibar, vai ser mais
If you want your
do
body armor to
mesmo
grant
nesse
life,
patch do
take
PoE
this notable.
2.
If you want resistances, take this one. There's so many choices. Think of
Então,
it
né?
like you're crafting your own body armor, just in a more literal sense. Now, let's move on to those who prefer the reassuring feel of a crossbow in their hands, the mercenary. Alongside the existing ascension classes, the Gemling Legionnaire and the Witch Hunter, you can now play as the Tactician. The Tactician is a former Blackguard elite. Free from the duties of a Blackguard, he is able to use his training to decimate the monsters of Rayclast and earn a healthy income doing so. This training comes in the form of various skills like suppressing fire, which causes all projectiles to pin enemies. When combined with the right where we want them notable, your pin not only stops your enemies from moving,
Já
but stops them
jogou
from
sim.
performing
Já.
actions too.
Eu
So
joguei o
it
WoW,
freeze.
sim.
With a soldier's training, the tactician also
Não é ruim
works
não,
well
mas é
with
meio
cooperative.
lento também.
Using the whoever pays best notable, you can
Não é o
place
Olsen
multiple
que ia
banners
ser
at once.
descontinuado ou eu tô
The
errado?
Watch How We Do It skill gives a portion of your weapon's damage to your allies as well. But if that isn't enough, you can also command your army of off-screen archers to unleash hell and carpet an entire area with arrows. Finally, Witch players will be able to join their legions by becoming undead themselves. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the Lich Ascension class. The Lich is a master of chaos and curses
Parece a
and can
mesma
sacrifice her life
mecânica.
to enhance her energy shield. The Crystalline Phylactery skill allows you to nominate a jewel in which to contain part of your soul, massively increasing its power. There's just one
Uou!
downside to splitting your soul
Forte,
this
isso
way,
daí é
though.
forte,
If you
hein?
have no energy shield, your mana costs will shoot up.
Caraca.
The Necromantic Conduit skill causes you and allies in your presence to have unholy might, granting extra damage as chaos damage.
Ah, os personagens
Rupture the
parecem da
soul,
hora,
makes enemies
cara.
you curse
Só
explode
que eu
with chaos
quero
damage when slain.
ver em relação ao endgame.
Dominion over Flesh allows you to
Adicional
apply an additional
Curse e Hexproof.
It's safe to say you'll be the true master of the occult by choosing the Lich class. So Dawn of the Hunt has the Huntress and 5 new Ascension classes, but it doesn't end there. Let's take a look at some of the new skills we've added. Now you may remember we've previously talked about the Raised
Você
Spectre
já tem
skill.
o meu
It's finally
disco
complete
ou
and will
lá?
be made available in the upcoming expansion. It can be found in the occult skills on the skill gem crafting panel.
Bind Spectre.
Raised Spectre is a skill that allows you to trap the soul of almost any monster in the game,
Ainda não?
which you can then summon in the skill panel.
Uhum. Manda.
Spectres cost spirit and will revive automatically if they die, but the spirit cost varies based on the power of the monster. You could summon an army of weaker monsters, or a few of the more powerful monsters. You can combine them with your existing skeleton minions, or summon exclusively spectres. It's
Gostei
all up
muito
to you
não,
how you want to
pra ser
customize your army
sincero.
of the undead. Given that there are hundreds upon hundreds of monster variants in Path of Exile 2, it's safe to say you'll be experimenting with this one for a while. We look forward to seeing which monsters serve you best. Now let's move on to our next skill. Since we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Rower skill. Summon your friendly rower to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your rower in combat at any time, allowing you to move at full speed even while shooting arrows or throwing spears. Be wary though, if you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed.
A minha dúvida é, ele vai ser
It's worth keeping an eye
exclusivo
on your
dela
stagger bar,
ou
as
não?
falling off the mount can mean almost certain death. On the topic of new ways to enhance your character, let's talk about support gems. Support gems are used to modify your skill gems in meaningful and interesting ways. Currently, we feel that a lot of builds have insufficient options here. To alleviate this, we're adding over 100 new support gems.
Tá.
Crystals will enable a new kind of bleed build, turning the damage over time you would have done into explosive Vile crystals. Alignment is a support gem for bow attacks, which can reward skilled players with good positional skills. Caltrops will allow you to litter the battlefield with hazards, slowing your foes as you fling spears through their ranks. But there's plenty more for every playstyle, such as Enormity, Unsteady Tempo, Profanity,
Algumas coisas interessantes. Essa de minions de 20% more damage é forte, velho. Nossa, que coisa bunda, velho.
Syzygy. Yep, that's a real word. And many more. Now we've talked about a new class, new ascendancy classes, new skills, and new support gems.
E agora
Let's not forget
endgame.
about the core of a true action RPG, the items.
Tá.
To start with, let's talk about uniques.
Olha o arquinho de
We're
blocking.
adding over 100 new unique items. This
Sem
time, we've made sure to add uniques with a
único
focus on mid and
itens.
in-game tiers to
Cadê
make
o Mage
sure there are
Blood?
more exciting items to find for higher level characters.
Não faz nem
Let's look at some
sentido, né?
examples.
Vou fazer um café ali.
Embrace your
Pode
inner
crer,
devil
pode
with
crer. Café é
Chernobog's
bom.
Pillar.
Sem
It grants
açúcar,
you a
né?
large amount of fire damage based on your
Café
block
com
checks.
açúcar.
The Coming Calamity allows you to become a true master of the elements, granting you all 3 elemental
Inimigos
herald
na sua
skills
presença
without costing any
tem não
skill.
elemental
At the
reis.
same
Cara,
time,
isso aí é da
paralyzes
hora, hein?
enemy resistances.
Pô, meio forte isso daí, cara.
Wastegate is a belt useful for builds using a single resource like Blood Magic or Archmage builds. With this belt, you can use 2 life flasks or 2 mana flasks.
Ah,
It's
bem
up to you.
bunda, velho. Gostei
Now, we
não.
could go through these all day, but we'll leave most of them for you to discover.
Adoçante stevia.
Suffice to say, though, we want there to be way more
Não
cool
é
things
tão
to find.
ruim, não é tão ruim.
Over time,
Tem que
our
ser
goal is to
raiz,
add a
pô,
unique to
tomar
every
sem
single base item
açúcar.
type at a minimum, so
Pelo
that you
menos
can
é
chance
forte,
any base
né?
in the game. Now, given that we have the Huntress, we have a
Nossa,
set
o
of
Pai
unique
2 é
spears from
bonito,
early
hein,
game
véi?
all the way through to
Caramba.
in-game as well. One example is Scyther's Spear, which combines bleed and fire in a powerful way. It allows your ignites to be aggravated, dealing substantially
Cannot
more
use
damage.
projectile attack.
We're also introducing a suite of unique bucklers with some interesting parry mechanics. Kalgyra's Arc, for example, allows you to parry projectiles from any distance.
Salve,
We're also
Nuno,
adding our first
beleza?
unique charms. Bayra's Anguish will not only protect you from Ignite, but will also emit a devastating fire nova whenever you do get ignited. In
Quais
sum,
as novas?
there's just a
Tô
ton
off.
of new uniques to find. We can't wait
Ah,
to see the
uns
weird and
personagens
broken builds that come
novos,
out of it.
skills e itens.
Now we also want to talk about crafting options. In each major update during early access, we'll
Craft
continually add and
options,
improve
guys.
options.
Bora, bora.
We have
É,
various new
esse é o
crafting tools
momento.
that have been added as rewards to many of the different types of
Craft,
new content that we're adding.
craft
But for now,
options.
I just want to mention the changes to runes. Runes add commonly available mods, but since they only have one tier, flat damage mods tend to get outclassed by in-game. So we've changed runes to have multiple tiers, allowing you to
Oh,
get higher tier
boa.
mods than before.
Boa,
Our
gostei já.
plan is to significantly expand the number of more specialized mods for crafting using socketables as we add new content over time. And the first new set of those comes from what we're talking about next. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding Asmarian Wisps, which can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame. The Asmari spirit has made itself present in Rayclast, and it appears to be trying to warn, or maybe prepare us for the coming darkness. You will first encounter a manifestation of it in the Grellwood in Act 1, where you'll meet Delwyn, an Asmari hunter who is trying to find out what exactly is causing the spirit to behave this way. As you approach the wisp, it will flee, leading
Tá
you
bom,
past
né?
monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by it, making them more powerful. Each spirit is associated with a specific revered animal within Asmari culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear, and grants enemies extra life and stun. The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you. But if you get too far away for too long, they'll dissipate and return to the woods. As you continue to chase the wisp, it will find and possess a rare or unique monster, granting it a new powerful ability. Because this was a wisp of the Great Bear, This monster now also has increased life and stun, but on top of that, it will periodically summon a large spectral bear that slams with wild fury. If you're able to defeat this foe, you will be rewarded. For each monster that was infused and killed along the way, the rewards will be increased. Each wisp has its own mechanics. The Wisp of the Winter Owl is a primal wisp that causes enemies to deal extra cold damage, gain energy shield, and release wind vortices on death. When infusing a monster, they will call down large tornadoes to protect their host. The Wisp of the Wild Cat is a vivid wisp that causes affected monsters to deal more critical strikes and become more evasive. When it infuses a monster, it will summon a barrage of feline spirits that will attempt to tear you limb from limb. If you're lucky, you may even find sacred wisps that can do some pretty crazy things to the monsters they influence.
Tá, eles vão colocar os Sacred Wisps, beleza, legal.
Monsters into magics, magic monsters into rares, and rare monsters into actual bosses.
Tá, legal. Não é ruim.
Asmerian Wisps can drop a new set of socketable items that allow you to craft a wide range of interesting new mods onto your items. Each one may only be used on a specific item slot. As mentioned, the Asmerian Wisps can be encountered throughout the game, but there's also a new endgame map called the Asmeri Ranges, a mountain village where the Asmeri once lived, now overrun with corrupt monsters. This map always has multiple Asmerian Wisps in it, and familiar, yet not quite the same boss fight. Asmerian Wisps can also be further modified by the endgame Atlas tree as well, and by tablets. But I'm not going to be the one talking about those things. In order to cover all the new content in in-game, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts.
Vamos ver agora o que é o interessante, guys. Não curti essa da montaria, não era muito melhor deixar o personagem mais rápido, concordo 100%.
Path of Exile 2's early access
Endgame, guys, vamos lá ver o que vai rolar.
After absorbing your feedback, we're ready to make some epic changes.
Ele falou que vai mudar algumas coisas
The first thing
épicas.
is, we just need a lot more content.
Ele falou que precisa de
In
mais
Dawn of the Hunt, we have made
conteúdo.
sure to focus on increasing the sheer number of interesting and different encounters you will randomly stumble into as you explore the endgame.
Eles estão falando
And
que
the
vai
second
aumentar a
goal is to
quantidade de
smoothen the progression
encontros
through
do
maps
endgame.
and reduce the amount of annoying busy work. To start with, let's talk about the new interesting stuff to find. Well, the most obvious thing to add are new maps.
Ele vai
As
adicionar
well as
novos
the Asmeri
mapas.
ranges that Jonathan mentioned earlier, Dawn of the Hunt also contains 7 other new maps.
7
all with
novos
their own
mapas
custom encounters.
com
Let's start with this
encontros
one.
The
únicos.
Feral Megaliths map starts off in the wild Ezomite forests.
Tá.
As you progress through the forest, you will find mysterious rune-carved stones that, when touched, surge with energy. After activating all the stones, you can find a grand henge, where all the energy is coalescing. You can then start an
Tá.
encounter.
Esse
The
mapa
area
você tem que
darkens,
clicar
the storm moves
e
in,
vai
and a
ativar um
concentration of
stone,
energy
guys.
summons a dangerous boss.
E aí vai vir um
You
boss.
must fight and defeat the boss to get its rewards. Once you have
Beleza.
defeated it, summon
Tipo uma
another,
Zorda.
and another, and another, and
Ah,
another.
interessante.
You have 10 total waves of boss fights, which get incrementally more
Você
difficult.
vai ter...
If you
Tem
manage to defeat
10
them,
waves
you
de
get
boss
full
fight.
rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These can
E
only
você
be
pode pegar
obtained from
runas
this map.
neles. 10
The
bosses,
Fractured
Sword
Lake
de
contains a
runas.
surreal waterscape with fractured mirror-like objects. As you move around the map, the terrain itself elevates
Tá.
from below, creating
Colocaram a
the ground you walk on.
Caglandra no POI 2. A
In
liga
this
que
unique
ninguém
map,
gostou.
all the rare
Ou a
monsters are
maioria
mirrored,
das
so you're
pessoas.
always fighting 2 of the same rare at the same time, which can prove quite difficult. If you manage to overcome that challenge and make it to the end of the map, you'll be presented with a broken mirror, a powerful altar-like object that contains an item within it.
No final
The
vai ter
item
um
contained
item
within is a new
broken,
base type,
guys.
either an amulet or a ring.
Ah,
that
vai
can be
vir um
crafted to have additional
amuleto
prefixes or
de...
suffixes at the cost of the
Pô,
other.
da
The
hora.
last unique map
Da
we'll show
hora.
today is one based around the essence mechanic. You enter a crystalline cavern, and
O
you will find
amuleto
a
é da
powerful
hora.
map boss imprisoned in the center.
Tamo vendo
It
agora
is
no...
surrounded by many rare monsters, also imprisoned in essences. By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence and be added to the imprisoned map boss.
lugar cheio de
How brave are you?
essências. Ok.
How many essences will you add to the boss?
O boss vai ficar boladão de essência
Underdo it and you might regret it.
e vai estar
your
cheio de
choice.
essência. Eu vi ali no grupo. Eu
Speaking
vi
of essences,
ali.
alongside visual
Gozen.
improvements, you're now able to apply Varlorbs to corrupt the essences
Onde você viu
with a
isso?
range of unpredictable
Agora que é
outcomes.
3 rings simplex, dá
It
pra
could
pôr 3
increase the
simplex.
number of essences, re-roll all the essences to the same type, or even upgrade the essences to greater essences. What if they're
Mais
already
um
greater
amuleto
essences?
simplex.
Well,
Nerfaram
we can
algo?
upgrade
Até
those
agora
too.
não.
We have 4 new corrupted essences.
Vocês podem
Essence of
corromper as
Hysteria,
essências.
Delirium, Horror, and Insanity.
4 essências novas
Each corrupted
corrompidas.
essence has its own
Nerfaram algo?
interesting
Até agora
combat
não.
mechanics. For example, the essence of Insanity causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real one before a devastating icy explosion
Tá,
freezes
as
everything around it.
essências têm
Each of
modificadores
these has their own
únicos.
crafting outcomes. The essence of Insanity can be applied to a belt. It adds a mod that will ensure the next Varlorb used on the belt will guarantee adding 2 enchantments.
Não entendi muito bem o que ela faz não, que eu não consegui ler direito.
It's worth noting all the essences
Mas é
of the
mais
unique
craft,
map can
guys.
also be corrupted too. If
Nerf
you're
só vai
willing
vir
to
no patch
risk it,
notes,
it's
possivelmente.
worth noting we have
Eles
also
não devem
added
falar de
10
nerf aqui
extra
não.
Atlas passive points you can earn by completing 5 different unique maps. Now, new maps are just the beginning. We had a goal where we wanted to make sure you were constantly finding exciting new content, and that it could be lurking around any corner. So, we have added a bunch of new things that you could stumble into in any map you run. On your travels, you will sometimes encounter rogue exiles. Others like you who have been
Tá,
exiled.
vai ter
and are
Rogue
openly hostile.
Exiles.
Some are malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot. They will challenge you, a fight to the death. They use the same skills available to players, and even the same items.
Tá,
They
vai
aren't just dressed
ter
up in those
Rogue
items,
Exiles que
they're
eles vão ter
actually using
skills
them.
igual nós e
It's
itens
going to
igual
feel
nós,
like a
guys.
true
Ou seja,
player
você vai
versus
lutar
player
um PVP boladão ali
Of
quase.
course, if you are able to slay these exiles, those items will all drop on the ground. So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you
Uou,
can see displayed under their life bar, you want to be damn sure you kill them.
isso é da
Because if
hora.
they kill you and your party,
O
they'll
item que
portal
o
out,
Exile
taking their
usar
items
vai
with them.
dropar, então se ele tiver de Red
Every
Hunter,
fight will
dropa
feel
Red
completely
Hunter.
different depending on the items they come equipped with. These exiles
Quando
are
falar
much
do POI
smarter
1,
than
dá
your
um grito
regular
aí.
monster.
Eu acho que eles vão
They
falar
have
do POI 1 não,
capabilities to dodge
Larissa.
roll,
Eu acho que
avoid
não,
your
hein.
abilities with smart pathfinding, smart
Será que vai
targeting,
ter
and much
Scouring
more action-packed
em item?
gameplay.
Não sei. 3 rings e um amuleto
Fortunately,
simplex,
they're like
todos
you
com
and
increase
not super
STR.
durable.
Tá taradão
Unless, of
nisso, hein,
course, they're wearing
Kazuma?
uniques like Helm's Heart, in which case, expect a longer battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find,
Tem
each
12
with their
Rogue
own skills
Exiles.
and personalities. Some may insult you, while others may admire your honor in combat. Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt are one of 4 new unique strongboxes. Strongboxes are chests with
Vai
modifiers.
ter
When
Strongbox
you try to
únicas,
open
guys,
them, they
também.
activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that you must
vai
defeat
ter-
to access the loot. Let's take a look at 2 of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently. The Ogham's Legacy Strongbox has a corpse splayed out in front of the rune-carved stone.
Tá, uma
Upon
Strongbox
interacting with the stone,
única.
you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier which determines how many times it will revive that rare.
A
Each time you
Strongbox
defeat the
revive o
monstrosity,
mob
the Strongbox revives it again,
X
adding an extra
vezes.
modifier to the
Nesse
monster.
caso, 5.
With each resurrection,
Ah,
it becomes
legal,
more
mas-
difficult, but also more rewarding. This Strongbox is infused with thaumaturgy from ancient Vaal technology. Eshel's Torment has a powerful artifact inside, and
Box
is
de
guarded by
único.
chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other 2 for yourself to see what they do.
Várias boxes
Now,
únicas.
let's talk about the introduction to the endgame. Upon starting the endgame, Doriani tasks you with cleansing corruption to help restore the land. However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps. We wanted to make the quest to unlock your Atlas passives much more interesting. Now, Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective. On the Atlas, you will find areas of corruption caused by the beast. In the center of each one, you will find a corrupted
Ingenuity.
nexus, the source of the
Confia.
affliction.
Simplex
In the
for
areas
Rarity
leading
of
up to the
Found.
nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies.
Pode ser
and
uma boa.
amalgamates
Na
into
verdade vai
powerful
ser uma
monsters.
boa, né?
Corrupted maps
O
existed on
difícil
the
vai ser
Atlas
craftar
before,
um simplex,
but
né,
we've done
Larissa?
significant work on improving
Zona
these
já
monsters.
nasceu no PoE 2?
We've also done a
Boa
full pass on the
pergunta.
modifiers on these maps to make
Não
them more
faço
interesting
ideia.
and more rewarding. Once you reach the Nexus, you will have a new task. Cleanse the source of corruption.
Eu nem sei que
When you
personagem
defeat
tem
the
no
last
2,
rare
pra
in
você ter
those maps,
ideia.
they will spawn
Não
one
me
of 3
atentei.
terrifying bosses. Amalgamations of corruption itself. After defeating that boss, Doriani will come
Nossa, eu
and
tô com
cleanse
muito
the
sono.
corruption for good.
Oh.
As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill
Garantes
tree.
Atlas
The upgrade
passivo.
system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps. We didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted Nexus, all of the remaining surrounding corrupted maps will become cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new monsters, a new boss, and their own set of modifiers and rewards, including finding fracturing orbs by slaying cleansed enemies. These orbs can be used in crafting on a rare item to cause one of its modifiers to become fractured. A fractured modifier is one that cannot be
Graças a
modified
Deus.
by any means.
Vai vir
You are
fraturado,
able to
guys.
freely
Vai vir
modify the
fraturado.
item, ensuring the fractured
Finalmente.
modifier will never
Finalmente.
change. If you get the right item with the right mod, it can prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed. You must now choose. Do you complete all the
Not
corrupted
bad.
maps and then
Algo
the
bom,
Nexus?
algo bom,
Or
algo
maybe you beeline
bom.
to the Nexus, complete it, and do all the remaining maps cleansed.
Evolução.
Both have rewards to entice you and challenges to assess.
Ah, sono.
Now, let's have a talk about towers. One thing we've had a lot of feedback
É,
on
só
is
isso
the
e
busy
acabou,
work
né?
around running towers and managing your tablets.
Aí o
First
Belton
change
está
we've made here is that we have
sorridente, o
reduced
Belton
the
vai
number of
gostar
towers
mesmo.
drastically.
Ele
So there are now
demorou
1/3 as many
bilhão
as
de
before,
anos pra
but
craftar
we've
os
made them
bagulho no
much more
2.
powerful. To start with,
Eu mando
tablets now
50
inherently
agora.
add twice as many
50
mechanics.
o quê?
But that's not
Fraturado?
all. Running higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets. By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before.
Quê?
So, we're running far fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting even more maps than before. But because there are fewer towers overlapping with each other, you won't get as many opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once.
Você pode colocar
You always
3
get one
tablets
slot
em
on
um,
completing
pelo
the
que eu
tower.
entendi.
But if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a second or
Ah,
third slot.
impossível, Kazuma.
Overall, this allows for even more juicing from towers, while
Mas tá
drastically
sei.
reducing the amount
Eles
of
não
busy
vão
work you
fazer
have to
isso.
do.
É mais
On
fácil
top of
tirar
that,
do 1 do que pôr
towers
no
are much
2.
more interesting maps because they can now spawn with all mechanics, including bosses. Each tower map has a new boss. Let's take a look at a couple here. The boss fight of the Alpine Ridge map has 2 powerful witches contesting for territory. One witch has an affinity for
Eu
ice,
entendi isso
the other
também,
fire.
ô Léo.
Who will win?
Mas eu fiquei meio bugado
Hopefully
ali.
neither. The boss of the Sinking Spire map is a remnant of the Val that has been charged with the lightning. It uses
Falando
a
de
full
alguns
suite of lightning
bosses.
abilities. But be careful. If any of them hit the surrounding constructs, they will power up. Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback about is sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot. A lot more than we had expected. And that made us realize something. During the campaign, the expectation is that you can die multiple times in order to learn how to overcome challenges. You are able to learn how the monsters behave, adapt to their skills, and eventually overcome them. But as soon as
Fui
you get to
tentar
the end
fazer a
game,
espada do
you're
Holy
effectively
Head
no
aqui,
longer allowed to die
coloquei
if
quem
you
up
want to
3,
sustain
mas não tá
waystones.
deixando eu colocar
By
trigger.
the
A
time you
espada
are
tinha
getting
attack
towards the
speed
end of the
diminuindo de
endgame,
outro mod
we want you
apenas.
to have to be careful not
Então,
to die.
é porque talvez o outro
certainly
mod
should be
não
that
era
they have such a
prefixo.
sudden shift
O outro
as you
mod
run
tem que
your
ser um
first maps.
prefixo.
The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die,
Possivelmente.
continuing from where you left
É
off.
isso.
When you start the endgame, you get up to 6 total attempts per map.
Aí, vai botar 6
As
portal,
you add more
guys.
modifiers to a waystone, the number of respawns goes down. This means that as you get to the point that you're running
Ah,
every
não é
waystone as a
não,
rare,
guys.
you will have to be more careful.
Tem uns que vai ter um portal, tem uns que vai ter 6.
In parties, everyone gets to respawn that number of times.
Eu não entendi muito bem não, mas aparece que é um outro mod. Não, pera aí, Fire Damage é o outro mod? Depois você me linka, tem alguma coisa errada aí.
This means that the map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time.
Não entendi muito bem não, mas parece que você vai ter mais portal, mas tem uma condição.
Is players not wanting to do the Pinnacle content because of the experience penalty from dying. A change we've made here is that all Pinnacle content now no longer grants experience, but also no longer removes experience
por
on
isso
death
então.
either. Dawn of the Hunt also brings the first batch of Twilight Order reliquary keys from the early access supporter packs. These keys contain items selected by our supporters.
Oh, Reliquary
They can
keys.
contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2. If the selected item is a Pinnacle
ganhar
boss
dinheiro
drop,
da gente.
then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items. For example, Hand of Wisdom in action can only come from a key dropped
Será
by
que as
Zesh.
mortes do Alien vão parar? Acho que não. Vai
We're
tomar do
also
mesmo
making a
jeito.
change that allows Pinnacle boss uniques to drop at any difficulty. Rarer uniques will be rarer at lower difficulties, but still possible to find. This applies to the drop chances for the reliquary keys from this content as well.
Ué, tá meu
We
sono.
spoke about towers and tablets earlier, but we have also added a suite of unique tablets.
Nossa,
Each
é
of these
foda, hein?
adds crazy interactions to the maps influenced by it. For example, this unique tablet allows you to run any
É
map
3
in a tower's
tablets
radius
mesmo lá.
without requiring connections, which can be quite useful for jumping gaps and traveling around your atlas.
Ah, você pode usar
And this
tablet pra você
tablet causes
pular,
all
guys.
runic monsters spawned during expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all expedition monsters that emerge from the ground. The Atlas tree has also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics there, and improvements to existing ones too. Now, through this live stream, we have mentioned quite a few new crafting options that we've added.
Ó, mais
New
crafts.
runes, corrupted essences,
Mas
fractured
é
mobs, and jewelry
exatamente.
crafting bases. But we did have just one more crafting system to talk about.
Ah, vai falar de craft.
Recombination.
Recombinator!
Was the only in-game mechanic that
Nem
was lacking a
fudendo.
crafting system.
Vai vir Recombinator!
That needed to change. Recombination is a
Sério
mechanic
isso?
that might be familiar to some players.
Nossa, vai vir
It allows you to merge
Recombinator.
two items together.
Agora eu quero
Integrate the
jogar.
best elements of each on a single new item.
Não precisa não,
This
Kazuma.
new
Tá
crafting
safe.
bit
Relaxa,
can
não
be unlocked
precisa,
as
mano.
you
É sério
complete
mesmo.
the first expedition, and requires artifacts found during expeditions to fuel
Mano,
it. The rarer the mods on the item
agora
you
tá
are
mais
combining,
interessante.
the more expensive the cost. That wraps up all the major in-game changes we're talking about today.
Bem mais
With all the
interessante.
system changes and new content, we can't wait to get in there, start blasting maps, and obliterating monsters. There is one more thing we wanted to clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access
Isso aí
leagues,
foi um
so you can
acerto,
play
com
your
certeza.
existing
Isso foi o
characters.
melhor acerto, Roberto.
However,
O melhor.
there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy. It is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt leagues. For all our existing early access players, we're really looking forward to joining you playing in this new update. For those who don't already have access
Isso eu
and are
gostei.
interested in playing Path of
Muito.
Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, you are able
Muito.
to at any time purchase an early access supporter pack at www.pathofexile2.com. Additionally, the Paladin and Penance supporter packs are now available to purchase in Path of Exile 2 and contain 6 microtransactions each and the full pack's face value in points. All the microtransactions contained within these packs are
Papo
purely
reto, só jogo dois
cosmetic and
quando ficar
do not
grátis.
affect your character's power or
Pegar,
progression in
pagar
any
pra
way.
me estressar com o PC
Thank you so
explodindo e o
much
server
for your
caindo, eu
ongoing
não
support.
quero, já basta um...
We're just about to
Discordo
start
não,
Q&A
irmão.
with
Eu
ZED.
concordo. Sabe
With
por quê?
release at the end of next week, our
Porque você tá
community
vendo o
team will be
movimento do
posting
2.
crucial
Você não tá
information you'll
curtindo
need for the
muito?
release. Keep
Espera,
an eye
tipo,
on
já
the news.
fica de graça, né, ô
On
tryhard?
release weekend,
Eu
we
não
expect to
discordo
launch
não,
the new
discordo
mystery
não.
box, and many new microtransactions.
Tipo, a gente vai estar ali
including
streamando
part
o
of
tryhard.
XXO's
Você de vez em
first
quando você dá uma
alternate skill feeds.
olhadinha, vê o que você
Thanks for
acha.
joining us today and
Não
checking out our
gostou?
latest developments.
Tranquilo, vai esperando
We're looking
aí.
forward to playing the
Aí no dia
Huntress,
que chamar a
trying new
atenção,
builds,
lançar
and
ali,
exploring
tu
the
vê
new
que tá
endgame
legal,
next
aí
week.
tu vai, mano. Eu não
We'll
discordo não,
begin the
eu
Q&A
concordo.
shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Ah, não quero ver Ziggy não, guys. Vocês querem ver Ziggy? Que pra mim acabou bem com o Recombinator. Mas eu não tô muito afim de ver Ziggy não, guys. QA com Ziggy é meio foda, né, velho? Eu gostei do Recombinator, eu gostei de algumas coisas. E eu queria até, inclusive, falar... É meio meh, né? Eu queria até comentar a respeito disso. Eu gostei de algumas mudanças, outras nem tanto. Mas eu vejo que já foi uma evolução. Eu acho que já foi legal. Já trouxe algumas coisas que a comunidade falou. Continuou com coisas que eu acho ruim, mas vida que segue, né, velho? Vida que segue, beleza? Eu vou dar um tapinha no 2 ali mais um pouquinho, depois eu vou pro 1, tá? Depois eu vou pro 1. E é isso, beleza?